So in this video today, what we're going to look at is something called radian measure. And a radian is just a measure of angle. We already have a measure of angle which you're quite comfortable with using, that's degrees. So today what we're going to look at is another way of measuring an angle. So if we take from the center of the circle here and we draw a radius and we draw another radius, so we have R here and R here. And if that makes an arc of radius R, or length radius R, i.e. this bit here, is also R, then this angle here made will be 1 radian, or 1 rad, as we can call it. Now, why do we need radians? Well, radians are very useful in calculus and other trigonometric ideas, so I'd call this a sort of grown-up angle rather than degrees. Degrees are obviously still useful, we have to be able to go between radians and degrees as asked in questions. So let's have a look on how we do that. So first of all, we're going to have a look at the circumference. So the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, and we also know that we can see here that we have an arc, minor arc of radius r. So how many of those are there in the circumference? Well, that means that what we're going to do is we're going to take the circumference, which is 2 pi r, and then we're going to divide by r. So if we do that, we get 2 pi r divided by r, and that means that there are 2 pi radians in a full circle. So there's the r being factored out there. So we now know that there are 2 pi radians, so 2 pi rads or radians in a full circle. But we also know that there are 360 degrees in a full circle. That means now that we can find out what the relationship is between radians and degrees. So full circle of radians is 2 pi rads, and that is equal to 360 degrees. So therefore there's a very simple relationship between rads and degrees, and we know that pi is equal to 180 degrees. So pi radians is equal to 180 degrees. Now that we know that, we can convert from radians into degrees or degrees into radians. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. So suppose I want to convert into radians, so convert 90 degrees into radians. All I do is I write down the initial relationship that we have, and we know that pi is equal to 180 degrees. And then what I do is I try and work out, how do I get from 180 down to 90? And I'm going to be using multiplication or division. So to get from 180 to 90, I'm going to divide by 2 on the right-hand side, which means that I have to then divide by 2 on the left-hand side using our equation laws. And if that's the case, I get pi over 2 is equal to 90 degrees. So 90 degrees in radians is pi over 2 rad. Let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look at maybe 150. So let's put 150 degrees into rads, into radians. Okay. So if I do that again, write down how I get pi is equal to 180. But I don't want 180, I want 150. So how do I get from 180 to 150? I multiply by 5 over 6 on the right-hand side, so I must multiply by 5 over 6 on the left-hand side, and that will give me 5 pi over 6. To change from radians into degrees is exactly the same sort of idea. So if I want to change pi over 6 into degrees, again, I start with pi is equal to 180. And to get from pi to pi over 6, all I'm doing is I'm dividing the left-hand side by 6 to get pi over 6. And I do exactly the same to the right-hand side. So divided by 6, and 180 divided by 6 is 30 degrees.